Hey folks, so this is a seminar. It's a set of tools and lessons and tools. I'm not going to tell you how many because there's a lot of them, but we'll just use a few here. Um, and it's kind of life lessons based on a manuscript that I wrote called Meditations on Being Human. And we're going to have an introduction in the beginning that introduces a family, the Hanover Salcedo family, which is a large blended family. And hopefully, those lessons and tools that we learn, each lesson and tool will hopefully have some information about the Hanover Salcedo family that will show us how they deal with life and how they interact with the lessons and tools to give us examples of how we can do it. So each lesson should be 3 to 5 minutes. First lesson is introductory, so I have numbered it 0. Just introduces the family and such. Okay, so here we go. Just gonna read at the best of my ability. All right. All right. So Hanover Salcedo family and introduction. The parents, Lenny Hanover, 48, background and personality. Lenny is the quintessential tech optimist, a co-founder of a promising but volatile AI startup. He lives and breathes disruption, innovation, and quote unquote the next thing. He is brilliant, charismatic, and driven by a genuine belief that technology can solve the world's most intractable problems. However, this forward looking focus can make him emotionally clumsy in the present. He approaches family conflicts like a bug in the system, looking for a logical fix or an efficient patch rather than sitting with the messy, illogical nature of human emotion. He lives with his family. He loves his family fiercely, but shows it through provision and problem solving, often missing cues for simple empathy. His previous marriage to his college sweetheart, Karen, ended amicably, but was a casualty of his all-consuming ambition. Fact that seeds a quiet guilt in him. Key relationships and conflicts. He is deeply in love with Renata, admiring her intellect and strength, but is often baffled by her emotional complexities. He struggles to connect with his teenage daughter, Eliza, whose genius he recognizes, but whose self destructive behavior he cannot logically parse. He finds an easier rapport with Kenny through sports and Todd through simple play, but he worries he is failing to prepare his children for the emotional rather than just the professional challenges of the world. Remember, this is a large blended family. Both adults have been previously married, and now they have a bunch of kids themselves. Renata Salcedo, background and personality. Renata is a force of nature, Senior partner at a top-tier law firm, she is sharp, articulate, and formidable in a boardroom. She was born and raised in Guadalajara, Mexico, the daughter of a university professor and a homemaker. She excelled academically, immigrating to the United States for law school, and has spent her career outworking and outthinking everyone around her. Internally, Renata lives with a persistent sense of being an outsider. Embarrassment over her name isn't about the name itself, but a symbol of her constant code switching between her heritage and the predominantly white male world of corporate law. Her dream of living by the ocean was a metaphor for a life of peace and authenticity. She feels, and yet, she feels she has yet to achieve, to fully achieve. She is a passionate advocate in her pro bono work, fighting for immigrant rights, a cause that connects her to her roots. Her first marriage to Javier Salcedo, a charismatic but traditional man, crumbled under the weight of her success, which he grew to resent. Key relationships and conflicts. Renata is the family's emotional center and chief operating officer. Worries that her children see her more as a high performing manager than a nurturing mother. She has a deep and complex bond with her eldest, Oscar, seeing her own ambition reflected in him. She struggles with Wilbur's recent despair and feels powerless to fix it. Her deepest challenge is with her adopted son, Morocco, whose burgeoning political consciousness sometimes critiques the very system she has successfully navigated, forcing her to confront uncomfortable truths about her own life choices. Renata's children, the Salcedos, Oscar Salcedo, 20, background and personality, a sophomore in biology at a nearby university. Oscar is the intense and analytic and driven. He deliberately chose to live in the dorms despite the proximity to home, to carve out his own identity away from his powerhouse mother. He inherited Renata's intellect and ambition, but directs it toward the natural world, a realm he finds more pure and logical than human society. He is deeply focused on his studies, often to the exclusion of social life. Key relationships and conflicts. He respects Lenny, that's Renata's husband, second husband here, of course, but he sees his tech solutionism as naive. His primary conflict is with Renata. He loves her but resents the pressure, both real and perceived, to live up to her standards of excellence. He is a protective older brother to Wilbur and Morocco, offering a quiet and stable presence. Wilbur Salcedo, age 18, background and personality. Senior in high school, Wilbur is grappling with the first major failure of his life. For years, his identity was star linebacker. He was popular, disciplined, and had a clear path forward. Now, with the dream of a professional football career gone, he is adrift in a sea of uncertainty. He is proud, hardworking, and physical, and the idea of moving into a trade like carpentry feels like a public admission of defeat. He is masking a deep well of grief and anger with a sullen and withdrawn exterior. Key relationships and conflicts. He feels like a disappointment to Renata and an enigma to Lenny. He resents Oscar's easy academic success and is often short-tempered with his younger siblings. His journey will be about rebuilding his identity from the ground up and learning to define success on his own terms. Background and personality. Here's Morocco, Salcedo, age 9. Background and personality. Adopted by Renata as a single mother when he was an infant, Morocco is a preternaturally bright and observant child. He is a gifted chess player, able to see multiple moves ahead, a skill he applies to social situations as well. His deep dive into African American history is not just an academic interest, it's a profound search for identity. He's grappling with complex ideas of justice, power, and his place as a Black child in a wealthy, multiracial family. He is articulate, morally serious, and unafraid to ask uncomfortable questions. Key relationships and conflicts. He loves Renata deeply, but he is beginning to question the world she represents. He challenges both Lenny and Renata's assumptions about society. He has a special bond with Eliza, the other genius outsider in the family. They often have conversations that are far more mature than their years. Lenny's children, the Hanovers. Eliza Hanover is age 14. Background and personality. Eliza is the family's brilliant, troubled enigma with a near photographic memory and an intuitive grasp of complex systems. From physics to human psychology, she finds traditional school mind-numbingly boring and is condescending. Her shyness makes it hard for her to form genuine connections, so she seeks stimulation elsewhere. Her promiscuity is less about sex and more about a desperate, clumsy search for intense feeling and validation in a world that feels muted and gray. She is deeply sensitive and keenly aware of the emotional currents in the family, but she lacks the tools to navigate them, leading her to retreat into cynicism or act out. Key relationships and conflicts. She has a strained relationship with Lenny, who tries to solve her with new schools and therapists, and a distant one with Renata, whom she finds intimidating. She sees Sabrina's people-pleasing as a form of weakness. Her closest ally is often Morocco, whom she shares a sense of intellectual isolation. Sabrina Hanover, age 11. Background and personality. Sabrina is a perfectionist and a high achiever. Her girly interests in fashion and social media are pursued with the same studious intensity as she applies to her schoolwork. She is organized, responsible, and deeply eager for praise and approval from her parents. Underneath her polished exterior is a profound fear of failure. She is terrified of being messy making mistakes or letting anyone down, which can make her seem rigid and anxious. Key relationships and conflict. She often clashes with Eliza, whose chaotic energy threatens her sense of order. She craves attention from Renata and Lenny, but she feels she only gets it when she presents them with a perfect report card. Her journey will involve learning to embrace imperfection and developing genuine self-esteem, not tied to external achievements. Kenny Hanover, personality and background. Kenny is a bundle of physical energy, loves sports, any sport. He lives in a simple, straightforward world of rules, teams, winning and losing. He is a good-natured, loyal, and uncomplicated. He's an emotional barometer of the immediate household. His moods are transparent and easy to read, a stark contrast to the older children. Key relationships and conflicts. He can feel lost in the shuffle of so many complex personalities. He idolizes Wilbur and wants to be just like him, making Wilbur's current crisis confusing and upsetting for him. He gets along easily with everyone, but he doesn't yet have the deep, complicated bonds of the others. Todd Hanover, background or personality. Todd is the youngest and the whirlwind of toddler energy and emotion. He's a family's source of pure, unadulterated joy and equally pure, unadulterated chaos. He demands a presence and attention that forces the older, more cerebral family members to be in the moment. Key relationships and conflicts. As the baby, he is doted on, but his needs also create significant logistical stress for Lenny and Renata, often triggering arguments about parenting duties and work-life balance. He's the living symbol of their new combined family. All right, so that's the background of the Hanover Salcedo family. We'll be seeing this family in each of the lessons, and we'll come to learn how they interact with all the lessons that we're learning, and that will hopefully help us implement some of the things we learn. So I'm going to publish this, and then I'm going to move on to what's called lesson number one, tool number one, probably lesson number one, let's say. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. All right. Let me close out the thing here. Right.